Hello there, and thanks for visiting the Varykino YouTube channel. I'm Christy.
And I'm Matt.
We're long-standing Star Wars fans who live and breathe Star Wars every day.
Welcome to another installment of Our Week of Star Wars, a series recapping the Star Wars fun we've had during the past week. First up, we've been continuing our rewatching of Star Wars Rebels, the animated series on Disney+. We've been doing this in anticipation of the Ahsoka series, which will also be coming out on Disney Plus in only a few weeks' time. We've been watching our way through Season 3 in the past week. In fact, we're up to Episode 18, so nearly finished Season 3. We're very much enjoying this season. As I mentioned in a previous episode of Our Week of Star Wars, each season seems to have a bit of a different feel, and I think Season 3 is starting to overlap with Andor as well as building up to Ahsoka, which is kind of interesting. And it's dealing a bit more with the birth of the rebellion, which is kind of an exciting timeline to explore.
And of course, one of the major components behind our rewatch of Rebels is refreshing our memory on the episodes, especially containing Thrawn. And of course, Season 3 of Rebels is where we really get to meet Thrawn in a bigger capacity. We sort of have a lot more Thrawn-heavy episodes, and I think I've really appreciated going back and just refreshing my memory on that backstory.
We've always known that Thrawn is sort of famous for being a master tactician and a sort of mastermind, a super genius when it comes to strategy and leading the Empire, and that's really starting to show through in a number of episodes. More than I actually remembered, in fact. It's some really, really deep episodes where he seems really crafty, quite a challenging adversary, and that's going to be really interesting to see in live action down the line as well.
Also really just appreciating the voice work behind the
Very
animated
distinct,
character.
yeah.
So I am especially looking forward to the fact that they have gotten the voice actor to portray him in live action. So I'm really looking forward to hearing that voice work in the Ahsoka series. It's going to be chilling.
It's going to be insanely important in terms of making it feel like the same character, because his vocal characterization was just superb and really, really creative. It really sort of came up with an interesting, it really fits with his sort of spooky, hard to interpret, hard to figure out what's going on in his mind sort of personality.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to finishing up Season 3 in the coming days and then launching into that final fourth series.
So kind of related to Rebels and Ahsoka as well, San Diego Comic-Con took place just recently, and one of the announcements at the Hasbro panel, which we watched intently to sort of catch up with all the upcoming releases, was the latest HasLab. Everyone was pretty much anticipating that the next HasLab project would in fact be the Ghost as a giant spaceship in a 3.75-inch scale, and that is what came through. And the reveal showed a lot of detail. It showed the size, it showed what to expect in terms of pack-ins, details, functionality of the vehicle, the characters that we'll be getting as action figures with the initial release, and if it hits subsequent tiers. So that was released and went live in terms of the sort of Kickstarter funding effect, and it was fully funded past its 8,000 tier within a matter of a few days. So we're sort of watching it closely to see if it ticks off the subsequent tiers and we get the subsequent characters from Rebels as action figures to go with this very large vehicle. It's been described as the largest spaceship that Hasbro has made. It is, in fact, a little bit larger than the very large Millennium Falcon they did in the past, and it is larger than the Razor Crest, both in terms of length and wingspan. And it's got all of the compartments you'd expect to see that we're sort of familiar with from having watched Rebels on the interior, in terms of the gun turrets, the sleeping compartments, the cargo hold, the main area, and all the sort of panels at the top. It's I don't know. I'm sort of lost for words. It's really, really crazy. I'm kind of looking forward to it.
When Hasbro first announced the sort of HasLab concept and, being able to do these very large ships, I think the Ghost was pretty high up on a lot of wish lists. And after a couple of not so popular products that, ultimately didn't come to fruition, I think the HasLab Ghost was such a sure win. I'm super excited about this. I know lots of people are excited about this. The size of it, the detail, all the sort of extra bells and whistles with it. I mean, this is the sort of thing that HasLab was built for, and I'm really excited that this one has passed the minimum requirement. It's going to be made, and especially for us, there is a local retailer here in New Zealand that will offer a pre-order for us here, so we don't need to worry about trying to freight it in from the US. We're super excited about this. I think it looks amazing, especially since we've been watching Rebels. We've been watching the Ghost on screen like every day, and knowing it's going to be in Ahsoka, it's just the right time for this vehicle to be offered to fans.
It's kind of fun, even though it's an expensive display piece for dedicated collectors. One of the things that's really characterizes the successful HasLab projects so far is almost the playability of them. They all have removable panels so that you can see inside them, so that you can recreate these interior scenes as well as the sort of exterior display. And that is one of the features that the Ghost definitely has.
I think when you spend that sort of money for a toy, you don't just want it to be sort of a lump of plastic that you can only sort of appreciate from the outside. Yes, most of the time it will sit on your shelf, but having all those internal components and just all the rooms and things like that, like we see on the show, I think it just looks so very cool.
We had a fun week in terms of shopping and arrival of pre-orders. Quite a few things just happened to coincide and end up on our doorstep, plus we managed to find some really good deals in the shops. In particular, from a couple of different sources, we managed to get 3 vintage collection figures, all from the Book of Boba Fett, specifically Cad Bane, the Tusken Warrior, and Boba Fett himself in his Tusken Raider gear.
From the Black Series, we finally got our hands on Bastila Shan from the Knights of the Old Republic video game. Very excited about her.
Very popular figure, that one.
And something else that we were very excited to be able to find, especially locally, was the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive or retailer shared exclusive of the Funko pop vinyl of Wicked. This one is a slight variation to the standard Wicked that also came out recently. All of these items we've also unboxed this week, so we'll talk about those in a little minute. Some of the other items that arrived this week that we haven't had the opportunity to open just yet include the Black Series Boba Fett Tython variant. This one is a little bit older, but we finally found him for a good price.
I love that version. That's basically the armor that has just come fresh out of the Sarlacc that Cobb Vanth initially had before Boba Fett got it back. I really like that absolutely beaten to death look of his armor.
Yeah, that was a great episode from The Mandalorian. We also tracked down the Funko Pop vinyl of Val Sarther from the Andor series. This one never showed up on stores locally, so we really had to hunt to find this one online. So we're very happy to have her in our Funko collection. And we also picked up on a fabulous sale, the Lego Star Wars Death Star Trench Run. This is from that sort of recent line that Lego has been doing of the Star Wars scenes that we really like. So we're happy to pick this one up for a great sale price.
Yeah, we got a really good deal on that, I have to say. And I'm kind of pleased because we were kind of wanting to get it. And just out of the blue, we managed to spot it with a really good discount. Quite a productive week in terms of publishing YouTube videos for us. As mentioned earlier, we have 3 vintage collection Book of Boba Fett figures, each of which we have published as unboxing videos. Really good to get those out and take a look at the details. First up, the Cad Bane from the Book of Boba Fett action figure. Really impressive detail on this rendition of the live action Cad Bane.
Yeah, I like his details. I think it looks really cool. Of course, when we're building our Book of Boba Fett scene, we have to have Cad Bane. So I'm really happy with this figure and glad to have him in our collection.
We opened up the Tusken Warrior. We're going to try and start to build a little bit of a Tusken tribe. So she is the first one that we've got out of the packaging. Again, some really neat detailing on her costume.
Yeah, I like the fabric components. She's got a cool gaffy stick, and I really like those details down the front of her skirt. I think she was a really cool character in the show. And like you said, we want to build a Tusken tribe for our Book of Boba Fett scene. So, of course, you're going to have the Tusken Warrior in there.
And pairing quite well with the Tusken Warrior, we got Boba Fett himself in his Tusken robe. So this is just when he has been sort of invited into the tribe and builds his own gaffy stick.
Yeah, I like the accessories on this one. I thought it was interesting that his gaffy stick actually came with a small cord, so you can sort of sling it over his shoulder very nicely. I liked the robes. I think it's a really cool figure.
3 videos featuring Black Series action figures went out on our channel. First up, the HK-87 droid from the Corvus episode of The Mandalorian. I really like the design of this robot, and it translates very well into action figure format.
And of course, these droids do seem to appear in the Ahsoka trailer, so we were very keen to pick one up because I'm sure these will disappear off shelves when those episodes drop.
Yeah, might need a second one actually because he seems to show up in pairs.
Yeah. And I was also very, very excited to finally get my hands and unbox the Bastila Shan Black Series 6-inch figure. I am a big fan of Knights of the Old Republic. I do have some thoughts about the color of this particular figure. I think I'm going to have to compare her to some of my other Bastila Shan collectibles because something about the color of this particular figure is a little bit off for me. But in terms of the detail and the sculpting, I think it is a great figure. I'm just not sure on the color. So if you want to make up your mind for yourself, do check out our full unboxing video. We'll have that linked down below. And finally, I unboxed the Bix Carleen figure from the Andor series. I know there's a bit of a mixed reaction to the Andor Black Series figures because a lot of them are just humans wearing clothes. They're not particularly, sort of exotic. They don't come with a lot
aliens,
of weapons.
No robots,
yeah, and we haven't sort of even really seen too many of the Imperial characters and bad guys in here. But I still want to build out an Andor series, so I think I'm quite happy with the Bix Caleen figure in my collection.
Yeah, personally I think it's kind of important and fun to have all of those key characters sort of clustered together on a display, and that's what we're aiming for.
Only one Funko video that we put out this week, and this one is, of course, that San Diego Comic-Con released Wicket with the slingshot rather than the spear that appears in the standard Wicket Funko that came out just recently. It might be a bit similar to the standard version for some, but I like Wicket. I think he's cute, so I'm very happy to be able to add this one to my collection, and because he was new, I was keen to unbox him and get a review out there for anyone else that's wondering about whether they want to pick this one up on top of the standard one.
We had a few videos that don't relate specifically to recent purchases. First up, we shared a bit of video footage that we recorded a couple of years ago actually, but have only just gone around to sort of being brave enough to publish because it covers the sad story of a really interesting shipping disaster that we experienced when we had a package that we've been waiting for some time show up on our doorstep via courier, absolutely dripping wet. It is a gentle giant Rey statue from The Force Awakens, and fortunately, the dampness or the soddenness didn't make it all the way to the core, but take a look at our video of that because it is really surprising how bad of a state that was when it turned up to us. We also opened up another Micro Galaxies Squadron vehicle. Ahsoka Tano's Jedi Starfighter is a rare from the Series 2, one of 15,000, so we were quite stoked to find that on the shelves locally and pick it up for retail, and we got around to opening that up on video. We do a little bit of a comparison with an earlier Jedi Starfighter, Obi-Wan Kenobi's Starfighter. Quite fun to see those together and have a little bit of a fleet building.
In other videos that we published, I take a bit of a retro review look back at my collection of Star Wars Barbie dolls that were released a couple of years ago, featuring Princess Leia, R2-D2, Darth Vader, and Rey Barbie dolls. These ones are quite treasured in my collection, and I thought with the release of the Barbie movie, it would be fun to look back at that point in time when Barbie and Star Wars collaborated on a range of collector dolls.
So that's an interesting collaboration. That's not characters per se, but that is fashion outfits inspired by specific Star Wars characters, isn't it?
Yeah, and they really went all out with the presentation on these dolls. They are, they're not for kids. They are presented in these beautiful display boxes. I am definitely keeping mine in the box because the way they open up and sort of show off the dolls inside, they look really cool on my shelf.
No, very impressive limited edition collector's pieces.
And also a little bit inspired by Barbie, I take a look at 10 Star Wars pink bags in my collection. I like to collect Star Wars handbags and purses and things, and with pink being a favorite color of mine, I thought I would take a look through my collection and highlight my favorite 10 pink Star Wars bags as a little bit of tribute to Barbie fashion and Barbie core. I know that's not a video for everyone, but I had a lot of fun putting that one together.
So 10 Star Wars Things is an ongoing series that we're working on in order to sort of show off our collection, some stuff that we don't always get out or have on display, but to show it off in a bit of a theme by theme or character by character basis. And we'll be having a lot more 10 Star Wars Things installments on our YouTube channel coming up. On that note, thanks for listening to another episode of Our Week of Star Wars. We appreciate you taking your time to listen to us.
And stay tuned for another episode next week. And as always, may the Force be with you. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like, check out our other videos, and subscribe for alerts about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.